Welcome to Cultivating Courage, a podcast exploring fear, courage, and stepping into a life filled with purpose, connection, and love.
Yo, yo, yo. Party people, we are back this week with Chuck Patella, head brewer at Howard Street Brewing Company. This week's mini coaching episode is looking at how we can motivate others through a shared vision, change our view of people to gain new results, and coping with people who think it's okay to eat mozzarella sticks at meetings. I mean, come on.
Welcome to another episode of Cultivating Courage. I'm your host, Kristin Robinson. As always, I am joined by the lovely hair-growing Maxwell.
Yeah, it's getting longer, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if you go back to like our first episode, it looked really bad. Now it looks slightly less bad.
Now it looks like you have a plan.
There actually is like some kind of hair choice being made.
Totally.
Actually, we're not that far off from each other. Are we?
In your mind.
Really? Oh. Well,
the back of our hair is probably about the same
this
length.
is about the same, but the front's not the
front's
same
probably
yet.
not quite.
No. Okay, well, I'm going to get there. I'm not actually trying to mimic Kristin. I want a ponytail.
He wants a man bun.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you got mad.
I don't want a man bun.
Passionate.
Yeah. I just want a ponytail. First, I was like, I want to know what it's like to have your hair blow in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a bunch of like
When I
Photoshopped
discovered
versions
that.
of you with man buns.
Yeah,
I
with
think
man
it'd
buns.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
No. James is gonna just like plug one in for the whole episode, and she's gonna sit here until. No, I just wanted. I was like, you know what? I've always wanted a ponytail, and when else am I gonna do it? So
If not now, when?
last time I cut my hair, like got a real haircut, was in November.
Mm-hmm.
Flashback to the last time Matt got a haircut. Well, you could actually see what my hair looked like then. So it's going.
I think you look great, just for the record.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
Truly?
looking good.
Okay, because when Lauren walked in, one of our other guests, she was like, "Oh, I like the short hair better."
No, I feel like you got a whole like California surfer thing going. Yeah, it's nice.
I feel like there's
You look
some
relaxed.
play that I don't know about that I'm like meant to be cast in with long hair
Right now?
There's some gut thing. Truly, sounds
We
weird.
could do a stage
I
version
actually
of
have
Point Break.
some Point Break. Yeah, we're gonna do Point Break the musical.
Wow, sign me up. I'll sing in that.
Yeah. Who's gonna pull the parachute cord? I don't know. Will he pull the parachute cord? Something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
You're
in.
onto something.
Point Break the musical.
I like it.
No, but I am gonna do some auditions in New York next week. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if we've talked. We
No,
haven't
we
talked
haven't.
about this, but I went equity. If you know the
Congratulations.
acting
Oh,
world, yeah,
we did
I'm
talk
now
about
an
that.
equity,
Yeah.
an equity actor, which is like
That's amazing.
the union of professional stage actors.
Yeah.
Because I'm spending time in New York training coaches, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be in New York anyways, maybe I'll go equity and just start going to some New York auditions and see what happens.
That's amazing.
So next week I'm going to audition, and there's a play that I am going to audition for. I'm saying this because I don't really want to, and so if I say it, then I've got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
About a 70s rock band. I know.
Yeah, you're
I know.
you're filling it out.
Right?
Yeah.
And they need someone who's a drummer to be like the drummer in the band.
How
And I am a
awesome would
drummer.
that be?
I know. It'd be so cool. So maybe, you know what? Somebody's going to listen to this from the future and be like, duh. Right? He was cast in some movie where obviously he had long hair. And then they're going to be like, how could he not have known that? But right now I didn't know that.
Right.
So. All right. Do we want to just make this an episode about hair? I don't think
No.
so. No.
I'm
Let's make
losing
it about
my
I'm
Chuck,
gonna,
our
I'm gonna
guest.
go ahead and
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and veto that
Let's
idea.
talk about Chuck instead. Chuck, master brewer. Oh, that's probably like a designation. Can you call yourself that?
Head brewer.
Head brewer.
Head
Okay,
brewer.
that's good.
Yeah, sure.
Head brewer of Howard Street Brewing Company,
Mhm.
who has been working towards this for years and is now finally about to launch his very own brew pub.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had another episode where we talk a lot about that journey and what you're doing, and we got to taste your beer, which is right here, and it's so good. And for this episode, maybe we'll do a little coaching. What would be an awesome thing for you to take from this conversation that would help you create what you really want?
Sure. I think, one of my greatest struggles, I would say, is I like to own everything. I like to be in charge of all of it, right? Like that's I can't help but want to be involved in all the pieces. And there are certain, right now as it's a startup, like that makes sense. But as things grow, I'm actually working with another brewer right now, and it's important to me that he also feels creatively fulfilled as well as makes good beer, right? Those are two important things. So he's been great. But I think, like, as I'm going through contractors, as I'm going through attorneys, as I'm going through zoning, city council, like all of these things, nobody works fast enough for me. And, if there's anything, I just, I would love to be able to be okay with that. And I'm never am. Because I want it the most and they don't, so, just working with individuals who don't work at the pace that I need them to or want them to. It's not need, it's want. I think that's one of my greatest challenges.
And so what would this conversation, taking something away from this conversation, what would have the biggest impact, do you think, in that area?
Maybe like how to influence the people that I'm working with more, or I don't know, do you guys have any special trick on how to make them move faster? Because that would be great.
I do. But I can't reveal them for another 12 minutes.
Stay tuned.
Grow your hair out.
I can't. It doesn't want to grow anymore.
Okay, so discovering ways in which I might be able to influence people to kind of move or create at the pace that I really would like them to be moving at.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing. Or, motivate them to understand why it's so important to me that it happens. I don't know.
What makes that request, wanting to create that like ability to influence them, what makes that meaningful to you?
Because I've spent a lot of money and I have no revenue yet. No, that's a joke. Half true. I think it's.
Wait, could we just pause with that?
Yeah.
It sounds like actually there's some legitimate things going on there for you.
Sure. I mean, I'm not paying. There's money being spent and no money coming in yet because I need a lot of people to do a lot of things for the money to start being generated, right? The upfront costs to a brewery are expensive. There's a lot of stainless steel. There's a lot of drainage. There's a lot of water. You got to work out. There's a lot of chemicals. Like there's things that need to be in place in order to be able to handle that kind of manufacturing. So, and the more I spend to get it open, that's just, there's nothing coming in to counterbalance that, and I have, I mentioned my other brewer and he's been working with me for a while, but he's not seeing a paycheck yet. He's doing this on the sole belief that we're going to do something good, right? And some days I wake up and think he's totally right, and other days I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this. So, I think getting those people to understand, if you move faster, that would be really good for me, because then I can start like actually bringing in customers and making some revenue.
Gotcha. So it's like the more I spend without making money, the more uncomfortable this is for me.
Yes. And I knew that going in. It's not a surprise.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
But for you, there's actually stuff at stake.
Yeah.
That maybe for some of these other partners or the government or whatever that you're waiting on, there's nothing at stake in the same way.
City council doesn't care if I open my brewery or not. You know what I mean? They don't care if the zoning gets approved, whether...
So, and the pace of it doesn't matter to them.
Nope.
Right? So, so there's like, I am out here, people.
Yeah.
Out of my comfort zone. I need to make money to get back into the comfort zone.
Right.
That's kind of maybe the dynamic of it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's 100% right.
And then being with people who don't share that same sense of urgency.
Because they already started their business, or they're already in their thing that they do. So the urgency just isn't there for them.
So it might be like contractors.
Contractors.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like contractors, architects, everybody involved, really. Lawyers. I will say my lawyer has been hands down amazing.
Oh,
that guy
good.
is awesome.
Who do you work with?
His name is Zubin.
Uh-huh.
And he actually did the Beguile Brewery.
Uh-huh.
And I got referred to him by the gentleman that owns Long Room. And I will say that my attorney has been the least of my concerns. That guy has been
that's awesome.
just on top of it and gone above and beyond.
As
So there's a lot of bad jokes against you guys.
Yeah,
but
sometimes there are really great lawyers
no,
and they do great work.
he's been amazing, and he's done really great
That's
work for me.
awesome.
And he understands what it means to me. He understands what's at stake for me, and on top of that, he just wants to help.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part that's missing out there too.
Sure.
People don't realize that, yes, I'm paying you for a service, but also you're helping me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that gets lost.
Yeah.
Because it becomes all about, am I making enough money off of what you're doing, and not like help.
So there's this uncomfortableness, and the people that are like, nah, yeah, I'll get to it, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you react to that how?
I follow up as every day.
Gotcha.
I will wake up, I will text, I will call. I mean, I won't do it all. I'll be gentle. It's a soft hand.
Uh-huh.
But I won't let it go too long. No response is unacceptable to me.
Uh-huh.
Like, you at least have to respond. Even if you don't have much of an update, you got to tell me what's going on. And I find that that's not always the case. It's been one of my major struggles of trying to get people to communicate back to me on what I need from them, and have already paid them for.
How would it be ideally?
I would just be in charge of all of it. I mean, literally, I would just have everybody just focused on my project alone and go. Obviously, I mean, that's not going to be the case. But, I feel like I'm a reasonable person, but some of the timelines have just been too long. Like, they've just been too long. And I just need to figure out a way to get them to work a little bit faster.
I'm taking a deep breath.
Because he's got
Is he going to launch into
Things.
something?
I'm not going to launch into anything. Let me see if I can get it. So ideally, everybody would just do things on the timeline I want them to do it on.
Right.
Right?
and do it the way that I want them to.
And
do
Right.
it.
the way I
You
want.
guys
and
get
like
it?
they would be
Yeah.
part of my team,
Uh-huh.
and they would communicate with me
Yep.
perfectly
communicate.
in the way that I like to be communicated with.
Yes. So it's actually like an awesome place to be looking,
Yeah.
because most of the things that most of us really want will only be created with other people involved.
Right. Right.
And maybe there are some things we could just truly do on our own, or maybe there's a certain level of power or something we could gain where we could just fire people and we could basically control it all. But for most of us, I think what we want is going to rely on other people being enrolled and our ability to influence them, And as long as our position is that they're the problem, we're probably stuck, And so, and it's not problem's not really a great word, but it's like that's just the way people are, and there's nothing I can do about it, and all I can do is just complain and rail about it. I don't get that sense from you that's where you're
I
at.
do it privately, quietly.
Yeah. Right, okay. So then what there is to look at is what is missing in my own communication, behavior, way of being. What is missing that, if it were there, might actually help me create this with them the way I'd like it to be created? So what do you see there?
You're making me dig deep here. I like it. I think it's hard for me, and I've tried a few different approaches to make them understand my plight, I guess. To make them understand look, I realize I may not be your, and I've used these, I'll give you specific examples. I may not be your most important client, but I really need you right now. Like trying to like reach out in a form of like, please do this now because I'm relying on you to do this. That didn't work. It's been forceful. It's been angry, sort of, I don't yell, but I will, I'll get angry and agitated on a phone call. And I don't try to hide that. But that doesn't always drive it home either. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just hire the wrong people, right? Like that's an element too. You interview a bunch of folks and then you pick one and it doesn't work out, but you get so deep, you can't walk away. So, I've tried a few different approaches to it, but it still hasn't solved my problem. So I don't know if there's more approaches out there.
Well, let's review first.
Okay.
So just to recap, the current ways of addressing the challenge of like getting other people on board. One is like I follow up a lot.
Yep.
I'm on them.
Mm-hmm.
Another is sometimes I'll like get angry or frustrated and kind of use that as a way to get them lit up or responding. And then another one is like, well, I try to hire the right people, but then it sounds like there's kind of like, but I'm stuck once I've chosen. I'm just kind of in trouble. Does that sound right?
Yeah. And also I try and plead with them.
Right. The
plead
empathy.
my case.
Right. Sometimes there's like a pleading, like I really need this.
Yep.
So there's a pleading and there's like an angry, like, gosh darn it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
I kind of forget.
I did that. I'm taking responsibility. That's what we're talking about, right?
Ownership. That's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I think it was something along the lines of how we view the situation going into it and what we create from how we're looking at it right from the get-go. So if we look at it as they're never fast enough, they're not going to give me what I need, that's what we're always going to see and experience. So I guess I was going to ask, like, what's a different way that you could view the people that aren't moving fast enough that might create a different space?
That's a really great question. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer.
Well,
to
let's
that.
look first, like breaking that down. How are you actually seeing? Like, is there? We don't have to name names, but is there someone in particular that's occurring that we can just kind of use it as an example? We'll call them
Fred.
James.
Fred James.
Fred James.
FJ.
Good old FJ.
Do you have somebody in mind though, so we can kind of get it in real life?
Yeah.
Fred James.
Fred James. Good guy, nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy. I'm sure.
Nice
Is that right? Let's actually kind of
is this person a good nice person?
He's a nice person. Fred James is nice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's nice.
I'm going blank. Oh, so the first thing to look at is how are you seeing this person?
At first, it was great. Creatively,
wait, not at first. Let's just go to right at this
now.
moment.
Right
How
at
do you
this moment,
experience
super
them?
frustrated and completely annoyed.
That's how you're experiencing it.
Yes.
How are you seeing them? Who are they to you?
A blocker. They are in my way and not following through on the obligations that they are supposed to be finishing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Blocker, not following through. What else?
Incompetence, the wrong word, because Fred James is very competent. Just lack of caring, like just lack of motivation. I don't know what it is on his end, but like he's not pushing it forward.
Unmotivated, not pushing.
We had a meeting with him on a phone call, and it was a video chat, and I'm not the most professional person in the world, but he rolled in like eating mozzarella sticks and dipping it in his thing. And it was just like, we're reviewing plans. Like, you can eat your mozzarella sticks later, dude.
Uh-huh.
Just that sort of lack of professionalism as well bothers me.
Yeah.
A little bit. You're running a business. Like, be professional. Don't eat mozzarella sticks during our video call.
Doesn't care.
Blocker.
Blocker.
Yeah. These are all good words.
I feel like there was one more.
Yeah.
I should have been taking better notes.
Is that how this guy's occurring to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Fred
James.
Cool. So consider that how someone is occurring to you will be the absolute definitive determination of how you act with that person.
Okay.
So how are you acting in response to the belief that this guy's a blocker, unmotivated, and unprofessional?
I'm not great. I'm not nice. I try to maintain professionalism. I really do. I think that's an important thing, especially when you're conducting a business. I would never hire this guy again. I know that. But I do try to make the conscious effort to be like, he's got other things going on. He's not moving fast enough for me, but maybe there's a reason for it, right? But there are times where I'll just berate him with emails and spreadsheets and just be like, did you follow up on this? I'm a bullet point guy too. I love bullet points in emails.
Uh-huh.
Like, here are all the things.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
When he responds, he will respond to one and not the rest.
Uh-huh.
Nothing drives me more crazy.
Yeah. So then you get driven crazy.
Now I'm mad.
Uh-huh. And then what?
And then I let it go. There's nothing I can do. Like, I don't... Or I'll reach out and be like, can you answer the rest of the questions, please?
Yeah.
And then he may or may not follow up.
Uh-huh.
And then 2 days later, I'll either text him or send him another email and be like, hey, guy, Fred James, can you get this done?
Or like, hey, Mr. Unprofessional, Unmotivated, blocker of all of my dreams.
I never call him out like that.
No, you wouldn't, but that's how you're actually...
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's my tone certainly embraces that.
Right.
From that.
That's who he is
Right.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if I got that email, if I saw one of my clients was feeling that frustrated, I would fix it.
You would respond differently.
I would.
But are you Fred James? Is your name Fred James?
No, it is not Fred James. It
Well,
is not.
This is the thing. Is what we're looking at, more broadly, is people being however they are. What could I be responsible for that would actually help me create the results I really want?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so this isn't the truth. It's just something to explore. But when we start to see people a certain way and then start to act as if they are that way and respond from there, we could look at then what the predictable results of responding that way are.
Mm-hmm.
And also look at what seems to be working or not working. And it sounds like the way you describe this, that however you have been responding is not working in the way that you would like.
Right. And the same actions are getting the same results.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So there might be a change in strategy. There could also be a change in how the person's occurring to you, such that you would naturally react differently.
It's hard. I mean, that's a hard one, right? Like, that's just hearing you talk about it. I'm already angry.
You're digging
I'm
in,
like,
right?
Angry,
"Ah."
yeah. Because what happens is once we view someone a certain way and we start to develop tactics in response to that, all of that's driven by creating more and more evidence that it really is that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So every time we respond based on this person's the obstructionist that won't, and they're unprofessional and they are this way, then it becomes truer and truer. And it's nice because we get to avoid responsibility and actually look at how could I actually create this differently? How could I look on my side of the street, which is for most of us not where we really want to look.
Right. Right.
Because it's their fault. Right? And whether or not that's the truth, as long as it's over there, there's nothing that can be changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's them and they're unchangeable and, So, what do you see on your side of the street that might actually have this person enrolled and acting in a way that would really be great for you?
I'm really not sure on how I could look at the relationship differently. Like, that's a hard thing for me to do. It's a hard thing for me Because I do feel like I'm adaptable, and I would, if I could approach him a different way, I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure what that way is, and I haven't found that way yet. Outside of calling him out directly and just using all those things, which I haven't. That's probably the only thing I haven't done yet. It's been like, you make me mad, you're a blocker, like all those things we listed off. I don't know what else I could look at internally to get results out of him. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Perhaps as a place to start looking. What if you try to see him as and enroll him as a teammate? Because what I was hearing when you were talking earlier was, that you feel like you want support and you want people to like be in it with you a little bit more than what you're experiencing. And I'm wondering if there's a way to enroll him in being a teammate. I don't know if that hits or not.
That's super interesting.
But it's just kind of something that came to me because one of the things that really stood out to me when you were speaking earlier was the idea that it sounds like you want all of these people to be on your team. You want them to really be with you in it. You're the coach and like your teammates and your team. And so I'm wondering if maybe there's a way to see him in a way or enroll him part of the team that would have things go differently. I don't know.
No, that's a great call out. I mean, I think that would be really helpful. And I need to think about that. Like, I need to understand, what he's missing from me that maybe he doesn't feel that way, right? Like, what am I not giving him for him to recognize that that's what I want? So I think that's a really good call, and I think that's answers your thing about looking at my side of the road of what can I do better, and I think that really sums that up of like how can I get him to consider himself part of the team. And maybe that's the outlier. Maybe he doesn't care. I don't know.
Right, and that could be too.
Yeah, I don't know. But that is certainly something that I can think about and try to inspire him to, be like, we're all doing this together, man. Like, get on board. Let's go. Let's do it. And maybe that would help. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if this is the truth, but it seems like it's possible that we act the way other people think we are.
Okay.
So, if someone is like, dude, Matt, you're a jerk, it's pretty predictable that I'm going to become a jerk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you're an asshole. Or something.
Yeah.
And they've basically created a reality in their head, and actually I might actually
and now
manifest
you're playing
it
into it. Mm-hmm.
because we kind of become what other people think we are in a way. And I don't know if that's the truth or not, but I think it can be a powerful place to look and to really examine our paradigm. I mean, if you're in a relationship, someone's treating as if you are a certain thing, it's really hard not to act like that. If they're like, wow, you are the most loving, kind, gentle, generous person I've ever known.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, like, I mean, you're like, yes, can I help you today? Right? Like, it would be really hard not to play into that.
You're motivated to do that.
It's
You're
like
motivated
it creates
to be that
it,
way.
you know. And the thing that's tricky about this is we're not. I don't think actually looking at it as like a manipulative.
Right. I was just gonna say as a way to manipulate
you're such
people.
a nice person. It's actually I think truly how are they seeing us.
Yeah.
And one of the things in my coach training, that's like if you're really doing deep coach training, what you're trained in is to see the greatness in people, to see their brilliance and their heart and what they're capable of and all the amazing things they could do, and to actually relate to the people you're coaching as that, no matter what they show up as.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, of all the coaching skills and everything, probably the greatest thing that a coach brings to their client is that they see the greatness in their client even when their client doesn't see it, and they relate to them as that. And it actually has a way of drawing it out of people and having them show up that way. And so that's just one example, but there might really be a place to look at, how am I really seeing this person? You know, who are they really? And there might be ways we're acting that are contrary to what we are.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy shows up eating mozzarella sticks. He turns in stuff late. He doesn't respond. Sure, those may be factually accurate. But when we let that become who the person is, they're probably going to play that out more. And I think there's a way of actually talking to someone of like, hey, I notice you do these things, and it surprises me because I relate to you as someone who is responsible, who can do great work, who it's possible to be a great teammate, get things done, be a
who's
super
competent.
valuable teammate, whatever it is. Not from manipulation, but actually starting to see the person that way and relate to them as that.
I will say that he is super creative.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a good vision. Obviously, you know, we interviewed a few people for what he does, and he really came with the best idea and the best presentation. And he has strengths, like, for sure he does. I wouldn't have hired him otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I if that's what he needs, I'm happy to give that to him. You know what I mean? If he needs to be more recognized on what he's done and how good because it's awesome. Like, what he's done is awesome.
Yeah.
I just need it to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And maybe I didn't do a good enough job of reminding him of how awesome he actually did, because he did.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe it's that. I don't know. It's just kind of a place to look, right? But as we're looking at...
Hey, I'm willing to try
Right,
all
try
of it,
anything.
you know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly. And it really is, it's such a great place to practice because, you know, what's next for Howard Street Brewing 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Food, awesome, bigger space, whatever it is that you're going to create, it's going to have other people.
Yeah.
Right.
So
for
whether
sure.
it's this flavor over any other, it's like us playing with how do I be a person that can actually have a group create things that would be great, and not from manipulation, from everyone being inspired and wanting to create it, and you know, how do I be a person that can create that?
Right.
So I really acknowledge you for playing with that, being with people, because it is necessary to create what you want. But also maybe this is a place where you can play, like, how can I actually have this go differently?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good place to look.
Anything you see just from all of this conversation that you want to try out doing differently this week?
I am going to give him some props and
Okay.
see how he responds to that. I will absolutely be like, by the way, man, like, Jim James, great job. Or Ken James? What did we
Fred
say?
James.
Fred James. Fred James.
Step one, call him the right name.
I don't know why he doesn't act responsibly when I call him the wrong name. No, Fred James, like, by the way, just wanted to let you know, like, this thing is awesome. And see how that goes. I think that would be a good approach.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's interesting you say that, because I'm like, we're all thirsting for acknowledgement of what we've done or who we are. Just hearing you say that, like, I'm like, oh, there's some people in my life. It would be so nice to hear them just acknowledge something that I've done well. Or so it touches my heart to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
nice.
think that's a really great place for the audience
Yeah.
to look this week. Who in your life could you acknowledge for who they are to you, who they are to other people, how they show up for you? And don't just think about it. Actually be bold and speak those words to those people. Yeah. All right. My friends, I think that's it. Our time is up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chuck, for being here.
Thank you so much for
Have
having me.
we, on this episode, have you told people where they can find you?
Howard Street Brewing.
Howard Street Brewing. It's on
Check
social
it out.
media.
Just Google it.
Google it.
You'll find Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, website.
Grand opening.
We have some gear
Oh, nice.
already.
Yeah, and it looks
We got some
awesome. I
gear
love
for
the
sale,
logo. It's
so-
super cool. End of October.
End of
beginning
October, November,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. We'll be
Okay.
open.
Super excited.
We are so pumped.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that's another episode of Cultivating Courage. We will see you next week.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I'm Matt Maxwell. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or other social media, or learn about coaching with me at thisishearthstone.com. And please check out my book, How to Hold a Cockroach, now available through Amazon. You can connect with Kristin on Instagram at Robinson Kristin, that's Kristin, or find her upcoming workshops at thrivecoachingstudio.com. Please subscribe to us wherever you listen and leave a great review.
Don't forget our practice this week. Acknowledge someone in your life for who they are and what they've done for you.
We'd love to hear how it goes in the comments section wherever you listen, or leave us a note at cultivatingcouragepodcast.com.